Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Klaus Stemple and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Corpuls. We are a company dedicated to technology which helps professional lifesavers all over the world in their daily job. In a time when evidence-based scientific work is of utmost importance on a global scale, I'm very happy to welcome you to our session. Of course, due to COVID-19 we cannot meet in person. But this shall not undermine our strong ambition to reduce the loss of lives in cases where it can be prevented. This is what brings us together in this virtual ERC Congress in the year 2020. And with me here is Michael Heller. Hi Michael.
Hi Klaus. Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Michael Heller and my official title here at Corpuls is Director for Medical Research and Application. So basically I'm responsible for everything that's medical, clinical, the medical research side of things. And I'm very much looking forward to present to you what Klaus and I, and especially our colleagues, have prepared over the last year or so.
Thanks Michael, sounds great. So we at Corpuls have a quite big team working in research and development, almost 100 people in that field at Corpuls, and they give their best every day to achieve excellent results. Just a little part of that we will be presenting to you today. Tell me Michael, what can we expect from today's session?
Yeah, sure. We had a quick meeting here and we realized over the last couple of years, over the last couple of resuscitation conferences, the thing people ask us the most is like, what can we use? How can we use your technology for our goal to provide high quality CPR? So we talk about our solutions, our devices, and their ability to help rescuers to achieve high quality CPR.
Now, automated CPR, everybody knows what we are talking about is existing. So what can be made better?
Yeah, automated CPR is something that was on our agenda for a long time, but here and today we want to present what we've just recently done, what we thought, what our goals were when we connected the Corpuls CPR to the Corpuls 3 defibrillator. So we want to share with people what we intended to do and how we did it. And as a sneak preview, we also want to share some of our own study data where we looked into the clinical performance of this connection. Sometimes people think it may be really easy when they go into their car and it automatically connects to their phone, but connectivity in medical products isn't easy.
And that's something at Corpuls that we know best, I guess, connected products working wirelessly. In the EMS, we have done this since years with our Corpuls 3 and now the Corpuls 3 Touch. Of course, we have our own approach of making automated CPR more intelligent. You will see. For me, as a CTO, of course, this is a very nice field of activity because it's very complex. Also, usability plays a huge role because you do not only have to give good technology to your users, you must enable them also to use it properly. And Michael, there also we have something to show.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's not about just having the best tools for the job, it's also about knowing how to use these tools. So we've just recently presented a brand new addition to our portfolio. This is Corpuls Simulation. Some people, especially those who follow our social media channels, which by the way I can totally recommend, will have seen short videos about what we've done, what we've created to help people train for scenarios like a resuscitation. So we all know knowing how to use the equipment in the right way is incredibly important. So we want to present what sort of training materials, what sort of training technology we can provide to people to really train for that realistic scenario, for that real case that may be the next one they have to answer.
Of course, also, maybe the best training is on the job. How can we get better by using the data maybe we gather from real-life missions?
Quite often we hear at all the different sessions, you can't improve what you don't measure. So modern devices do secure data, and we've developed a lot of software solutions and we constantly improving them. So we want to present what Corpuls Manager, what our database solution is nowadays capable of doing and how this may help organizations to at first measure their performance, probably even compare it, and then help establish measures to improve their performance. So having the data, working with the data, analyzing it, and with a goal to improve towards that final destination of high quality CPR. I think that's something where we want to give a little insight how that may work with our products.
Sounds excellent. I think we should start.
We're talking about the synchronization between the Corpuls 3 and the Corpuls CPR. Both of them leading products in the field at the moment and now working together. Working together how we always wanted them to work together. So we have created the Soulmates, the team for resuscitation that works together to make this very complex task simpler, easier, more efficient, and hopefully more beneficial for the patient. So when you connect the Corpuls CPR, you'll see the flashing Bluetooth symbol at first, and then it turns solid, which indicates you have established a Bluetooth communication. On the Corpuls 3 side, you have this brand new connect button. So if you want to connect to a Corpuls CPR, you simply click here. This works either via touch, of course, or the equivalent soft key.
What are the technical challenges while connecting the two devices?
I mean, we've proven with the Corpuls 3 that we can do distributed medical devices, because the Corpuls 3 as a device already is a distributed device. Of course, now we are adding basically another therapy unit to the system. So we have a mechanical therapy unit and the DEFib is an electrical therapy unit. Of course, this adds complexity, and this complexity has to be mastered somehow.
Once the devices are connected, you have the possibility to change the settings. We can hit the settings for the mechanical CPR, and then we pretty much have everything like we have on the actual Corpuls CPR device. Here, for example, we can change the compression rate and compression depth simultaneously, so we can display the remaining runtime in minutes and the mode we're currently operating in.
Can you do the connection in every Corpuls 3 and with every Corpuls CPR?
Yes, you can. On the Corpuls CPR side, from the very beginning on, we had the Bluetooth capability. It's a little bit about the use on pediatric patients. We always wanted our mechanical CPR unit to be able to connect to our defibrillator. On the Corpuls 3 side, it's important to have the Bluetooth modem, which is in the patient box module, as the hardware piece to establish this communication.
You may think of the Corpuls 3 in this case to be the autopilot for the Corpuls CPR. This definitely leads to a way easier operation, makes the operation a lot safer, and also minimizes the interruptions. And as one of the major goals for us, we can decrease the hands-off time. So we want to increase chest compression fraction, so important for survival rates. This basically indicates how important synchronized use of those devices can be. And going into an elevator is probably only one example. So within a moving ambulance is definitely one of those more common scenarios. One of those two colleagues maybe have to drive. Another scenario that's always very common when it comes to Corpuls, air rescue. The monitoring unit is always within reach. Now, with the synchronization to the Corpuls CPR, shocks can be delivered, devices can be paused, restarted, and so on. Being able to control the Corpuls CPR through the defibrillator monitoring module makes the whole situation a lot easier to handle and hopefully has beneficial effects on the treatment quality of the resuscitation victim.
Why do you think this is an absolute must-have?
From the medical aspect, we are 100% convinced that this connection and this new feature will save lives. It will increase the chance of survival, and therefore there's no doubt that this is a must-have in my eyes, because it will reduce hands-off times, it will increase chest compression fraction, there will be less confusion on site, the people have hands-free, they can do something else, treat the patient, focus on the patient and not on the devices. Therefore, from the medical point of view, for me, there's no doubt that this is really, really beneficial.
As we mentioned, connecting the Corpuls 3 defibrillator to the mechanical CPR, to the Corpuls CPR, was a task from the very beginning. Ever since we've developed the Corpuls CPR, the goal was to connect it to the Corpuls 3. And over the last year or two, we've really looked in detail what can we do, or what are the biggest advantages for rescuers coming from this connection. And of course, all these always come with a tremendous technical challenge.
Yeah, of course. If such a system should help, it's all about seconds, no? It's about hands-off time, it's about seconds, so it must be a very seamless integration in order to be good, to really improve the quality. And I'm quite happy that we were able to show those improvements in treatment quality in our study.
I think whilst everybody knows, okay, yeah, it's all about minimizing hands-off time, it's all about maximizing chest compression fraction, seeing a technical approach like this and then thinking about how may this help me to achieve all of that, and on top transmit data back that I'll make available. You can explain a little bit why and how we've approached that.
Any user of the Corpuls 3 or the Corpuls CPR could have access to that technology and to those new possibilities, because his or her CPR and Corpuls 3 are already capable of doing that. So that's the promise we give when we make our Corpuls products. They are future-proof, they evolve with the needs of the user, they evolve with the progress we make in science, and we can provide this as basically an upgrade to our installed base, which is great because in this way it can help many more patients and many more professionals than if we implemented it just in a new device.
Yeah, absolutely. So in detail, this means every Corpuls 3 from the software version 4.0 onwards, which has an inbuilt Bluetooth modem, can be connected to a Corpuls CPR, where correspondingly every Corpuls CPR from the software version 1.2 upwards will be able to do this communication.
Connected to Corpuls CPR.
Cool. What are we going to see now?
We want to share a couple more insights about the mechanical CPR itself and how mechanical CPR plays its role on the road to high quality CPR. So yeah, we just want to show, like we said at the beginning, what makes our device special, how does our device especially help rescuers to achieve this goal of high quality CPR.
Sounds excellent. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Patrick. I'm the product owner of the Corpuls CPR. I worked as a paramedic for 5 years. During that time, I treated several cardiac arrest patients. I am aware of the danger of standing in a moving ambulance and performing CPR with my own hands. For a long time, it was the only way to give the patient a chance to survive. The first time I saw the Corpuls CPR treating a patient in cardiac arrest was just amazing. From that point on, high-quality chest compressions wasn't a big deal, even in difficult situations. The Corpuls CPR delivers high-quality chest compressions wherever and whenever. High-quality CPR, that means chest compressions with 5 to 6 centimeters depth and a minimum of 100 beats per minute with minimal hands-off time. This is what we call the goal of increase the chance to survive. It's super easy to set up the Corpuls CPR at any patient. You put the board under the patient, you open the lever and align the stem on the thorax. 2 steps, you close the lever and press the start button. This is unique. It works within seconds. You can adjust nearly everything: depth, rate, the arm itself, and of course you can choose from different modes. With these settings you can easily perform treatment of the patient in accordance with the guidelines. Even if the patient is a child, you can therapy them from 8 years. With the synchronization of the Corpuls 3 and the Corpuls CPR, we have made two peerless devices even better. Combining these both devices means adapting a new therapy option to the Corpuls 3. Now it's possible to adjust all parameters in one device and further reduce hands-off times during shock delivery. This will sustain the numbers of survival of the patient.
During the same time period when one of our teams was working a lot on the synchronization of the Corpuls 3 and the Corpuls CPR, we've also been developing the all-new Corpuls 3 Touch. And that's one thing that we've been asked a lot again in the past, like, is it touch? It was almost something that was fun when we had really nicely clean devices on a booth, when we could see people in person and they were approaching a Corpuls 3 Classic and they just went for it like they did on their tablet. Just recently we've been able to release the brand new Corpuls 3 Touch, and Klaus explains it really nice why touch isn't touch, so I'll ask Klaus to please explain this to you as well.
Of course I will. Me in person also, I've been asked this question over and over again, and yes, we would have liked to do that earlier because the idea is so striking to have a touch device, of course. But as you all know, we're in an EMS environment. We might have dirty hands, it might be raining, all kind of fluids, body fluids even, could spray on the device and interfere with the touch. And therefore, of all the years, basically, we studied the existing technology and tested it if it was ready for EMS operation. And there has been much progress done technically wise, and now this technology is available. So the Corpuls 3 Touch has one of the latest touch technology which is available on the market, which is capable of coping with all those things we see like water, salt water, other fluids on the screen, and work properly even under those conditions. And that's extremely important because we do not want to add another feature to a already existing product. We also want to seamlessly integrate it into the user interface, and therefore it's extremely important that it doesn't cause malfunctions or disturbs the user. As soon as we saw that this technology now is available, we were very happy to develop it, and it was much fun to see this product come alive.
Yeah, and it's actually a lot of fun to use it. It's unfortunately something during a virtual conference which we can't offer. We can't offer you to just come by and have a play with it. But once you do have the chance to get your hands on some of the earlier devices, you'll realize it's a very seamless integration. And during the whole process, and especially the extensive usability trials we've done, we've come up with something that we call Touch and Dial. And this is basically every device, every Corpuls 3 Touch can still be operated like a traditional, well-proven device using the soft keys, using the 1, 2, 3 functionalities for defibrillation, but adds this touch functionality on top to give the user this nicer experience. In some cases, even it's going to make the user faster, but at the same time not giving up the safe and proven way of operating your defibrillator and patient monitoring system.
Also, no need to retrain for the device. So who can use the Corpuls 3 can also use the Corpuls 3 Touch. That's great because we are working under stress. It's about seconds. As I mentioned already, we have to be fast, we have to know our devices in order to treat the patient properly.
Absolutely.
The beginning of a new development is always the most difficult.
The
Corpuls 3 is incredibly successful, unbelievably popular for its ergonomics, and of course launching the product again at this level is difficult. We've achieved it anyway, we dared to do it anyway, and I think the result speaks for itself. I think this really is a breakthrough. It's resuscitation on the next level. and I'm incredibly proud that we as Corpuls are the first company to successfully bring this onto the market in such an advanced product.
In einem so ausgereiften Produkt.
What's probably something we want to point out as well, like I said before, from the software version 4.0 onwards, we will have the synchronization available. One more thing we will have available from this software version onwards is also something we call ECG Max. This presentation predominantly is about high quality CPR, but as you all know, one of the most probable causes for an out of hospital cardiac arrest is in cardiac event. So whilst the 12 lead ECG was the standard over so many years, we are taking this up a notch and we're taking it to 22 leads, including a cardiac electrical biomarker, which will help you, similar to a troponin, to identify a patient in risk, because every patient we do not have to resuscitate already has sort of received the best possible treatment.
So basically, we can assess the risk of a patient of having a heart problem very fast, very easily, and in an automated way.
Absolutely. And this, of course, integrates into our telemedicine software. So basically all you need is your existing Corpuls 3 with some connectivity, so you can send your standard 12 lead ECG to the server and receive your 22 leads as well as your cardiac electrical biomarker back, for example, on your smartphone or tablet.
Sounds excellent.
ECG Max is the next generation when it comes to diagnostic ECG. ECG Max gives you not just the standard 12 lead diagnostic ECG, you get 22 leads, and the best thing is you get those out of your 10 electrodes.
Is it easy and complicated to learn? What would you say?
That's the best thing. People do not have to learn anything. I mean, yeah, the placement of 10 ECG electrodes for a diagnostic ECG, that's important. But that's something people have been doing for years, and that's second nature.
Besides the regular 12 lead ECG, you also get the posterior leads V7, V8 and V9, and you also get the right chest leads, which usually take a lot of time acquiring, but you get your V3R, V4R, V5R and V6R without spending any more time on scene acquiring this 12 lead ECG. On top of those leads, you also get your X, Y and Z leads and the vector loops.
Someone wants to know, can it be integrated in an existing Corpuls 3, the 22 lead ECG?
Yes, it can. As we said, the computation of those additional leads is not done in the device itself. It's done on the server. So basically any Corpuls 3 capable of 12 lead ECG and transmitting it to such a server can benefit from this feature.
So the placement of those is important, and then just out of the data set that's included there, that's where it's being calculated up to the 22 leads as well as the cardiac electrical biomarker. So extremely easy additional information, and especially if it comes to the CEB, very, very easy to interpret. The cardiac electrical biomarker helps you to identify ischemic changes within the myocardial muscle in real time. And at the same time, it is as easy to interpret like a traffic light. Green, the patient is fine. Orange, you may have to consider that something could be wrong with the patient or the patient is developing some sort of symptoms. And red, this is definitely a patient that needs to be looked at closer and most likely transported to a hospital that has, for example, PCI capabilities. The CEB is definitely a lot faster, even when you compare it to hypersensitive troponins. And at the same time, more specific, especially when you compare it to hypersensitive troponin levels. This all sounds like it's something of the future, but it is actually proven technology. There's a lot of evidence which proves this way of transforming a normal 12-lead diagnostic ECG into 22 leads, as well as calculating the CEB.
Now we heard about the latest progress being done in automated resuscitation and bringing devices together and networking. But of course there's also other things to mention.
Yeah, mechanical CPR has been of growing importance, and the same thing happened within our portfolio. So the Corpuls CPR has now been on the market for quite some time, and there's a growing number of devices out there. And we just want to give you a little bit of an overview of the role it plays in everyday resuscitation, again towards this goal of high quality CPR.
Hello everybody, my name is Sarah Dopfer and I'm working at the Medical Research and Application Department here at Corpuls. Today I want to show you how the synchronization function impacts the hands-off time during a resuscitation. Me and my colleagues were asked to evaluate how the new function impacts a resuscitation, and therefore we set up the hypothesis that the synchronized function is not inferior to the common known separated handling of the devices. For the investigation, we divided the handling in two different groups: the separated known mode of the handling of the devices and the new one, the synchronized mode. To calculate how many participants we would need to get significant results, we performed an analysis using G-power. Therefore, we assumed a middle effect size and wanted to achieve a power of 95%. When we choose the participants for the study, we watched out that we have paramedics on different levels, and we also had different user levels, which means some of the participants know the Corpuls 3 and the Corpuls CPR very well, while others use them only a few times a year. In advance, we planned to conduct the study in a realistic scenario with 2 paramedics in an ALS resuscitation scenario. Due to the corona crisis, we were forced to reduce this scenario down to 1 person performing the tasks, and so we choose an ALS scenario. The participant just jumps into the scenario at around minute 10 or 12, where the defibrillator and the Corpuls CPR is already established, and the participant's task was to perform an analysis and a defibrillation. Participants had to perform 4 use cases, starting with the common mode, which means the separated handling of the devices, one time in AED mode and the other time in manual mode. The participants established the connection between Corpuls 3 and Corpuls CPR and then performed another 2 analysis and defibrillations, another time AED and manual mode. Therefore, we got 4 different scenarios which we annotated afterwards. For the annotation of the captured movies, we used the timestamp, which is very accurate in milliseconds, and went through the video frame by frame to determine at which point the chest compression stops and where the pause begins, and at which time point the chest compression is resumed, where the pause is ending. We got two different kinds of pauses. We had the analysis pause and the shock pause. Before we calculated the results, we checked the data for standard deviation using a Shapiro-Wilk test, and afterwards performed a t-test or a Wilcoxon test to find out whether the results are significant. First, let's have a look at the total hands-off time, which means that the analysis pause and the shock pause are combined. What we see in number 1 is the hands-off time for the combination of AED mode and separated handling of the devices, which was around 14.7 seconds, compared to the AED mode, which was around 12.2 seconds. You can see it in number 2. The difference between those two was highly significant. Use case 3 and 4 shows the difference between the manual defibrillator mode in the separated and synchronized handling. There we had slight significance. P was lower than 0.05. But we should not forget that in this scenario the participants had an artificial ECG signal, which was probably easier to interpret than it would be in a real-life scenario. So this pause overall might be shorter than it might be in real life. If we have a look at the perishock break, we can see that there is a high difference between the two modes. On the left you can see the new mode, the synchronized handling of the devices, compared to the known separated handling, where we can see a highly significant difference of about 2.3 seconds, and this means a reduction of about 38% of the break time. When we asked the participants after we captured the use cases, they told us that they feel quite confident with the new function because it seems to be very intuitive. One of them even said, "What a cool function this is," and another one found it simple to use. So, in summary, the fact that we had less steps per cycle, the participants didn't have to push that many buttons to perform an analysis and to deliver a shock. They had more overview of the situation, and we also could show that the hands-off time was reduced. It was reduced about 80% per cycle, which results in about 3 seconds, so we could increase the chest compression fraction using the synchronized function.
So we've learned that technology gets more and more powerful, but also more and more complex. So we have to address this issue. What can we do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think the majority of people that we would ask here in the audience would come back to us and say, like, training. I don't know the exact numbers, but a very big portion of the people attending those resuscitation conferences do work daily in training. Not just in resuscitation training, but in medical training all across the emergency medical field. And we've thought, what can we make to assist these people in training rescuers, in training medical professionals to respond to urgent cases, which resuscitation is one of them. And we came up with an all-new product in addition to our portfolio, which we call Corpuls simulation. Corpuls simulation, our tool to help rescuers to train how they fight for lives on a daily basis.
Sounds good. Let's see how it's done.
In emergency medicine, more than 1,000 people die every day from out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. More than 1,000
could be successfully resuscitated, and way more suffer and may even die from malpractice. Emergency medicine and aviation do have a lot in common. Both are high-risk workplaces. Decisions have to be taken within seconds, and these decisions have a huge impact on human lives. We're talking about high legal liability, and human error is the main cause for failure. What can we learn from aviation? One of the most important things definitely is simulation training. Another aspect is structured communication. Skill-based approach is really important for people to train. Train how you fight for lives, of course. And therefore I present Corpuls simulation. So what makes a simulation training a great simulation training? For example, a Boeing 747 pilot wouldn't go to an A320 simulator to learn how to land. So identical interfaces are extremely important. To see real parameters is even more important. Using the original accessories makes a big difference. And then finally, of course, training while using realistic scenarios really gets you into this pressure situation.
The application is currently running on a 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Its functionality is exactly the same as it is on a Corpul 3.
The realistic interface includes identical graphics, colors, sounds, and the entire behavior of the whole system.
So it's about a realistic scenario.
Absolutely.
I just want to ask again, how realistic is this?
How realistic?
How do you see people like training with this? Are they right into the situation?
Yeah, I believe this is a big advantage for simulation training. But the realistics, of course, depending on the editor who created the simulation scenario.
What makes a scenario realistic? One thing is physiological signals. And then if the patient automatically improves or decreases based on what the EMTs, paramedics, physicians do. Therefore, the instructor has checklists on the instructor's iPad and has even more so a scenario editor to pre-program this patient's behavior.
Offer specially Corpuls-made simulation scenarios. Corpuls-made simulation scenario. We think we made it realistic, and also the guys outside, they can create own realistic scenarios. And if they want, they can upload and share with the worldwide Corpuls simulation community.
You have the Corpuls 3, the Corpuls 3 Touch, as well as the Corpuls 1 and the Corpuls AED. By the time we launch Corpuls simulation, you already have all of these devices included. On top of this, you also can get the Corpatch simulation electrodes, as well as, and I think this is the first time in the market, Corpuls simulation ECG electrodes. Both of those electrodes can be reused, reapplied on your standard PVC or other plastic mannequins. Corpuls simulation comes with its own ecosystem, with the simulation system in the center, the instructor's iPad. Optional, you can get it with a video debriefing solution. You can even involve the audience via their own iPhone, and soon to come, you can connect it to your Corpuls CPR. Altogether, we've had a lot of fun over the last month and year to develop our first physical, non-medical product, Corpuls simulation. Our solution for rescuers to train how they fight for lives.
Hi, my name is Philipp Immer. I'm an application specialist here at Corpuls. A few years ago, I worked as a paramedic here in Germany. In a critical and stressful situation, it is very important to keep your mind clear and focus on the patient. For this, crews outside have to do a lot in their preparation. The question is, how can Corpuls support them performing a high-quality CPR or a high-quality patient treatment by default. Pilots do simulation training since a plenty of years. Airlines know how important it is to train with an exact replication of the system the pilots are using in real. They're using all the details they also have in a real airplane. An instructor can generate nearly the same stress level as it is in a real critical situation. This increases the benefit for the pilots a lot, and they are well prepared for a serious case. Pilots have to repeat their training sessions after a period of time. Otherwise, the aviation authority and the airlines will revoke their licenses, especially if we talk about resuscitation. The staff can't get enough training. I saw it multiple times outside, on scene. Stressed paramedics weren't even able to do easy changes on their defibrillators. A short simulation training every week increases the benefit for the paramedics and last but not least for the patient a lot. Nobody likes to train with poor manufactured accessories. The crews need to train with nearly the same equipment they are using in real. Of course, some of the accessories can't be real working sensors in every case. With Corpuls simulation, this is not important. Important is to have a correct mechanical functionality, equal haptics and material. Train how you fight, train where you fight. Corpuls simulation comes with its own ecosystem. This allows an easy way to transfer your simulation training in almost every environment, outside in the forest, or on boat, or in a simple living room. Corpuls simulation can always be on your side. The one thing is training itself. The other thing is to focus on the taken measures by default. Instructors around the world are using pen and paper to make their documentation for a debriefing. Corpuls simulation also offers a video debriefing solution where the instructor can review the actions together with the trainees. This increases the benefit of a training a lot and makes a detailed debriefing possible. All in all, there are a few very important things to be well prepared for a high-quality CPR. Recurring training, a detailed training system which is almost independent from the environment and can't cause any damage. Physiological signals, realistic interfaces and accessories, and a 2020s debriefing solution. Corpuls simulation maximizes the benefit for the patient. The EMS crew, nurses and doctors can transfer their knowledge into the patient treatment and perform a high-quality treatment and a high-quality CPR. Corpuls simulation. Train how you fight for lives.
Now we learned that training is really important and that there is great benefits in high-quality training. But how to find out what procedures exactly to train and where is the need for training? Michael?
Yeah, that's something that is extremely interesting. And when we look at all the devices we currently make, they all gather data. And they all gather data. Has been the standard. And they all gather data. Has been the standard. And the device industry as ourselves or the automotive industry is looking at key performance indicators, KPIs. And we wanted to create a solution that enables emergency medical services, hospitals, to do the same thing for EMS. And the Corpuls Manager software solution is exactly that. It brings together all data gathered from all different devices to be either reviewed to do debriefing, but that's also able to be used to analyze bulk data to identify the areas where you may need additional technology, where you may need additional training or a mixture of both. It basically enables you to see and work with the data you have, and we believe this is an extremely powerful tool because throughout all of these conferences we always hear you can't improve what you don't measure. So measuring gives you the possibilities, enables you to see where you could improve on this road to high quality CPR.
Excellent. I think now we have got our audience curious. Let's see how we do this.
Hello, my name is Christoph Schneider and I am the product manager for our software products Corpuls Mission and Corpuls Manager. I will present to you how our software solutions support our users to perform a high-quality CPR. With Corpuls Mission, our medical communication platform, the patient is brought into the main focus during a mission. You have already learned that in a case of a resuscitation, the Corpuls CPR can be connected to the Corpuls 3 via Bluetooth. If there is a connection from the Corpuls 3 to Corpuls Mission, at the same time the telemedical expert sees not only the data of the monitor, he also sees all the data of the selected parameters of Corpuls CPR. This allows him to give detailed advices and support the team on scene. But the mission does not end when the case is closed. The recorded data is your key to continual improvement. For example, for the next upcoming CPR. For debriefing of resuscitations, you always had the possibility to look at the CPR analysis in Corpuls Manager. But for Corpuls 3 missions, this data included only the manual CPR in the past. Now we can offer a new feature to you. If the Corpuls CPR was connected to the Corpuls 3 during a mission, you only have to use one file in the future. Corpuls Manager shows you all the data of one mission in one software. If you now open the CPR analysis, you see both in one place. The data of the manual resuscitation recorded via the feedback sensor and the data of the mechanical resuscitation performed by the Corpuls CPR. Also, when using the mission history in Corpuls Manager, you have all the data in one place. The shock data, other parameters, and of course, again, all data of the manual CPR and the mechanical CPR.
So, this was the last presentation the team back in Kaufering has prepared for today. Thank you so much to the team for all the hard work that went into this presentation. And now, I guess you've all realized I'm not standing next to Klaus Stempler anymore. I have a new guest here at our table, and this is another Michael. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, it's a pleasure. My name is Michael Schindler. I'm the head of sales at Corpuls, and I'm really happy to be here. It's really exciting, you know, to experience the first, for me, first ever purely digital Congress. Of course, we would have preferred to meet you all in person in Manchester. Obviously, that's not possible, so we took a lot of effort to bring you the best digital Corpuls experience that is possible. But before we start talking about this, Michael, I have one question that I would like to ask. We have heard so many things about innovations, new products, new features now, and I think that's really amazing. But what customers ask me quite a lot of times actually is how much work, how much effort, how much time is there really necessary, you know, to bring a product from the first idea to this point where you can actually launch it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's quite a common question that a lot of people are interested in, and probably quite a few from the audience as well. I'll try to explain that very briefly because it's not that easy. It's not that I have a tally where I can say like it's 15,263 hours. It is definitely a period over time. So what's very important is that at the initial idea which product we want to make, we have in the back of our mind, for example, with the synchronization, this device needs to talk to another device. So it has to be built into the architecture. And then, like in this product or with a synchronization between the Corpuls 3 and the Corpuls CPR, around about 3 years ago, that became a little bit more defined what we want to do. So, and then there's, of course, I mean, it's a medical device, it's treating of a patient, so we thought what makes medically the most sense. There's our medical research team involved, and then we have product managers who create stories for developers, whether that's hardware, electronics, software, and so on, who then do the actual development. Until a stage where one may think it's finished because you can put it on a desk, you can switch it on and it works. But with a medical product, there's more work to come until you can finally use it on the patient. So that's stuff like risk analysis, clinical evaluation, training concept. And in the end, of course, people want to have a user manual where they can look things up, they want a brochure and so on. So there's a ton of work that goes into it. There's probably 25, 30 or even more people that are involved in a project like this over several years until your team then finally starts selling it.
Right, and since they have heard about it a couple of weeks or months before already, they are impatient to start with the selling. And I think that's really, from a sales perspective, a really important fact about Corpuls, because I've never seen a company like this, you know, who brings to the market so many innovative things, who has the courage and the will to always improve existing products as well, which protects the investment, and also thinks about how can we improve not only existing products but improve work processes of our customers, bring into the market new products and so on and so forth. So I think that's really a unique thing about Corpuls, and this is what's so exciting to sell those products and to talk to them with our customers. And talking to our customers, I think, is a good connection to what I wanted to introduce here, because as I said, we were thinking really hard about how can we bring the best Corpuls digital experience to you, and this is why we developed a digital showroom. And you can visit us there, and you can not only get new information about the products or more detailed information about the products, you can also have a direct conversation via video conferencing with the team from Corpuls, which are regional sales managers, sales specialists, but also application and scientific specialists, so application and scientific specialists, so application to do so. And we are waiting there, and we are waiting there, and happy to, and we are waiting there, and happy to and answer all your questions. Besides that, you can also download information like brochures, for example. You can watch movies and video clips there about the products, about the company. So there is a lot to see, a lot to experience, and I'm really proud that we managed to bring you this kind of experience or make it possible for you. So please feel free to visit us there. We are waiting to welcome you at our digital showroom. Michael, did I forget something?
No, I think you covered it all really, really well. It's one thing that we can't underline enough. It is a great pleasure for the team to interact with people who actually use the devices on a daily basis in the field. So we definitely look forward to talking to you, meeting you in that virtual environment. Please come by and ask us everything you always wanted to. We're really looking forward to, and we hope you're enjoying this digital conference.
And there is just one more thing that I would like to add, if you allow me to. Of course, everything that's got to do with the pandemic is a new kind of normalcy that we have here. But of course, we don't want to stay in this digital world, but if you want to experience our products and our solutions in real life, then you can always do so. We have a distributor and a dealer network all over the world, and they are more than happy to make it possible for you that you can test our products in your organization, a hospital organization or a pre-hospital organization, and then you don't have to stay with the digital experience, but you can also have this experience in real life, which would be great. Hands-on, exactly, that would be great. So we are waiting for you in our digital showroom. Have a great time here at the ERC Congress 2020, and see you soon.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for attending our session. Thank you.